Greetings, South Africa. Welcome again to another episode on Defense in Focus podcast. I'm Major Mjoli, and with me, I've got Mpumi. Greetings, Mpumi.
Hi, Major Mjoli. How are you?
Fantastic, India.
I'm good.
Well, South Africa, today we've got an exciting episode where we've got the Chaplain Services on studio. Chaplain, welcome.
Thank you very much, Major. It's a pleasure to be here.
Likewise. Tell me now, Chaplain Abrahams, take us back. Who are you?
Okay, so if I take you back, I'm Chaplain Abrahams, born in Cape Town in 1976, and then
I was still in the tubes by then. Yes.
And then I did my primary school and my high school in Cape Town, and then in 1993. I decided I'm going to study theology. So I spoke to my parents about it, and
was it a calling?
Yes, I also had a calling to be amongst people, ministering to people, and then I went to go and study in the Middle East for 9 years. I specialized in theology in Arabic, and then in beginning of 2000, I returned back to Cape Town.
Okay. And when did the decision to join the Defence Force come about?
Let me put it this way. I had an uncle that worked for the SA Navy, and the last Friday of the month, as tradition in the Navy, they normally wear the whites. So it was one occasion we visited his house, and he came in with his white uniform.
And you fell in love with it?
And I fell in love with his white uniform. But not knowing what God has in store for me, I then became a local imam at one of the mosques in Cape Town. And one of my friends at the mosque came one day to me, and in 2005, 2004, beginning 2005, came to me and said to me, "Sheikh, they are looking for a Muslim imam in the Defence Force. Are you interested?" The first question I asked him, "Where in the Defence Force?" He said to me, "Currently there's one in the Navy." And then it took me back those years where I saw my uncle in the whites. I said to him, let me sign up, let me see what God has in store for me. And then in end of 2005 to 2006, I joined. And that is where I am today. So both my callings were accepted, love for the ministry, and then being in the South African National Navy.
And when you joined at the time, I'm asking this question because I want to know, compared to the time when you joined and now, can you say people are well catered for in terms of all the religion and the chaplaincy services? And what is the difference now and back then when you joined?
I would say that because I was the first Muslim chaplain within the South African National Defence Force. I think from what people have seen or heard from Islam, a lot of people are but skeptic when it comes to Islam, or they are afraid to approach a Muslim. So same scenario when I joined the Navy. A lot of people were skeptic about Islam. What is my purpose in the Navy? Or why did I join the Navy? Because people might think that I was appointed because I joined because I want to change the military culture into an Islamic institute or whatsoever.
Do you still find that perception even now?
When people look at this, I don't think so, because a lot of things have changed. And because when I joined, just to answer her question, when I joined, I always told my seniors and even the admiral, the full colonels, and even my colleagues also, I'm here to show and to teach people what Islam is all about.
Now, Mpumi, The chaplain spoke about imam. There are different way. How do we address the chaplain? Do we still say chaplain? Because I see you've got a different rank and insignia on your shoulders. Tell us about how the manner of address that we should.
Okay, so the word chaplain is a universal word, right? But for if people feel that they would like to address the chaplain as a chaplain, then, or in my case, if they want to address me as chaplain, I am fine with it. If they want to address me according to my qualification, that is also good and well. So in Islam, we have got 3 categories of learned scholars. We got the imam, who is the scholar who normally studied at those years under locally under a sheikh or a maulana. So that person is normally known as the imam because he studied locally. So because those years it was only certain people that studied abroad, and so people who then had an interest in studying the deen of Islam, or to become a qualified scholar, would normally go to the sheikh and go and learn, so they then will become a qualified imam. Then later, as years progressed, people started to go abroad. So we currently having students that studies in Morocco, that studies in Saudi Arabia, in Mecca, in Medina. We got people that studies in Egypt, and also in the Middle East, in Kuwait, in Qatar. So those members, or those people who study in those areas, they are known as sheikh. That is their title. And then we get people that goes to Pakistan and India, so they are qualified maulanas, but the maulana and the sheikh is on the same level, yes. And then we got the head of the advisory scholars, who is then called the mufti, who is the overseer, who then gives verdicts with regards to Islamic understanding.
Wow, it's a very, very wide, and it involves a lot of dynamics in terms of where you got your training. Yes. Now, do we have students or in the defense force that go to such establishment, or how are you recruited into the SANDF?
So first of all, for us to be recruited within the South African National Defence Force, you need to be an ordained minister. You must have experience of at least 3 years within the Islamic community. So after I came back from Kuwait, from the Middle East in Kuwait, I had an extra 3 years which I studied theology, qualified theology. So I'm a qualified Arabic interpreter. So I understand the Arabic language very well. I can read the Quran, I can understand it, I can translate it, I can speak it as well. And then also above that, I did my theology, in Islamic theology, which is known as Tawheed and Aqidah.
So, coming to chaplaincy services within the SANDF, what role do you play?
So the chaplains within the South African National Defence Force is an embedded part of the SANDF, meaning we are part of the structure of the SANDF. So we provide the spiritual aspect to our members, as much as we focus on medical, human resources, logistics, all these things that's important for a human being to function. I think the spiritual part is the most important, because our members, our troops, sometimes find themselves in awkward situations, in difficult situations, difficult scenarios. So to bring that spirituality to them, to keep them motivated spirituality, the chaplain normally goes along, or you will find in the unit or the work environment a chaplain that is appointed to that specific unit.
Now, chaplain, to not get the viewers, another idea, you spoke about that you were interested in whites, which the Navy wore, and you were recruited within the Navy. But now you've got a SAMS uniform. How did it go about?
Okay, so my career in the military started in the Navy, like I said. I've been in the Navy since 2006, and in 2009, I was requested to come for an interview. Then, because when I joined the Navy, I was a reserve force. So because they had a need for a Muslim chaplain, and then I was requested to come for an interview in Pretoria to be translated into into the permanent force. So after my interview, I was informed that if my application is successful, I will then have to come over to SAMS, which is the South African Military Health Services, because one military hospital is a hospital that is linked with the UN. So some of our patients that comes to one military hospital are from Pakistan, are from India, who is Muslim, and they don't have an idea of how to deal with these patients, or how to cater for these patients. So I was then translated to permanent and appointed at one military hospital to see to not only to see to the Muslim patients, but as well to also